Hi, this is Shannon. I hope you're having a wonderful week. If you are in the same boat that I am, our school year is winding down, and whenever we get towards the end of a school year, it just makes me think about what is working well homeschool wise and just in our life in general, and what habits or routines I want to change or improve in. And so I wanted to make this video and share with you some homeschool habits and just really life habits that have been working well for our family, and also some habits that I am trying to implement and hoping to improve in. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little ones, 2, 4, and 6. And we do classical homeschooling and love it. I get to tutor the obesitarians in our homeschool group, and I just adore doing that. I am passionate about homeschooling and healthy living, and I love to share the things I'm learning. So today I want to start out sharing some habits that have been working well for our family this year. And some of them are just life habits, and some of them are homeschool habits. So first, I want to talk about when I wake up. So I wake up pretty early, around 5, sometimes a little bit earlier than that. I love having some time in the morning before my kids wake up. I know that doesn't work for everybody. My husband's the direct opposite. He stays up late if he wants some time or wants to do something. I can't stay up late. My brain just like shuts off. So I love getting up early. I always have. Love having that time. I feel like it makes me a better mom if I have some of that time in the morning. So what I usually do is I wake up, and first thing before I do anything else, I pray. I recently read Habits of the Household by Justin Early. I will link that book below. Phenomenal book. And he talked about habits and talked about praying immediately when you wake up, not turning your phone on until you've had that time of prayer. It can be pretty short, it can be longer depending on the day, but just starting your day before the Lord. And I was not doing that and just loved the idea of that. So I am trying to implement that habit as soon as I wake up, just dropping to my knees, having a few minutes of prayer, not letting myself look at my phone until that's happened. So that is habit number 1 I've been doing for a few months consistently, and it's been just so good. After that time, I go immediately to the laundry room, which might seem silly, but our laundry room is upstairs. And so I just go there before I go downstairs. And if there's any laundry to put away, I do that. I put piles of clothes in front of my girls' rooms for them to put away. I also load the washer with any dirty clothes and start it. So I like to just start the washer first thing in the morning and make sure all the clothes are put away. It just works well for me. Then I don't ever get behind with laundry. This literally takes me like 5, max 10 minutes. I try to do as much of this the night before as well, but sometimes I'm just tired and don't. So if I haven't done it, I make sure I do it in the morning. And again, just start the washer so those clothes are washing. Then that's like step 1 for taking care of the laundry that day. And then later in the day, I can put those clothes in the dryer or hang them up. And it just makes that happen during the day for me. So I do that. Then I come downstairs and immediately I fill up my water bottle. So I wanted to show you this because I recently got it. I am trying to drink a gallon of water per day. This is a new habit for me. But I have been really dehydrated a lot and have a hard time drinking a lot of water. And so it's a habit I'm really working on. But this is a quart-sized water bottle. I'll link it if you're interested because it's my favorite water bottle I've ever had. It's glass. This straw is stainless steel, so no plastic or anything. And I just fill it up right away in the morning. I put some lemon in. I sprinkle some sea salt, some fine sea salt in it. And I just start drinking water. So before I do anything else, I make sure I drink some water. And my goal is to drink a whole one of these before I even think about making coffee or eating breakfast or anything. I just want to hydrate myself first thing. This is a new habit, but I've been doing it for a little while. And if I start drinking in the morning, then it makes it so much easier for me to continue drinking throughout the day. I don't know exactly why that is, but it really is true. So I fill up my water bottle. I usually put a few clean dishes away, either from the dishwasher or just dishes that are drying on our counter. I like to just make sure the kitchen is completely reset before the kids wake up and all that. I try to do that as much the night before as well, but it's usually hard for me because I'm pretty tired by that point. So I finish up anything that needs to be done in the kitchen in the morning. Then I usually start listening to a podcast or an audiobook that I'm currently reading that's encouraging. And my favorite podcasts that I'm listening to right now are Sally Clarkson. I listen to all of her podcasts. I love listening to Homegrown Education. That's one of my favorites right now. They talk about healthy living a lot, and I learn a lot from them. There's a couple others I listen to regularly too that I'll link below. I start listening to one of those. It just helps me. I enjoy listening as I'm like kind of, putting dishes away and stuff like that. So then after that, I go work out. So I either go run for 30 minutes or so outside, or I do an indoor workout, but I do some kind of exercise pretty much every morning. If I feel like I need a break, then I go on a walk, but I just love getting outside and doing some kind of physical activity. It really wakes me up and just helps me feel better. And I have a hard time finding time to do that later in the day with having 3 small children. So I just really like starting my day with that. And it's early enough that they're still sleeping. My husband's home, so I have the freedom to go run outside if I want to. And usually as I'm running or working out, if I can, I'm continuing to listen to that podcast or audiobook. I just really enjoy that. Then when I am done with that, it's usually around 6:30 or so. That is when I finish drinking my water if I haven't already, and then I start heating up some broth. So I have been making chicken or beef stock from scratch just for the gut benefits from it. And I make a bunch and then I freeze it in these little ice cube silicone trays. And then I just pop a few out of the tray and heat them up in a saucepan on my stove. And I drink a mug of that stock before I eat breakfast. It's really good protein and just, like I said, awesome gut benefits. And my gut has issues, so I'm trying to help that. So I drink that and then I start, making coffee and making my breakfast, but I make sure I drink that first. Then I have my quiet time when I read my Bible and pray. I also love reading this devotional book after I read the Bible. This is called Mom Heart Moments by Sally Clarkson. I just reread it. There's one for each date. I read it for that date, and then next year I read it again. It's just really good. I've read it for multiple years now and just am always encouraged by it. So I would highly recommend it. One habit I'm trying to implement that's kind of new to me is I have a little journal for each of my children. I'm trying to journal prayers for them out each morning to just be more specific and intentional in praying for them. So that's one habit I'm trying to implement. So I'm usually eating breakfast as I'm having my quiet time. Sometimes I've made coffee by this point. Sometimes I haven't quite yet, but I will get there soon. I like to have quiet time alone, but I also want my oldest daughter to witness that I do this in the morning because I think it's important for her to see that. And so I use the Hatch nightlight sound machine in my kids' room. And so she knows when the color turns to red, she gets to come downstairs. And so she's usually the earliest riser among my kids in the morning. And so when I turn that on, she comes right downstairs. And then she knows that I'm going to read a little bit more while she either colors or reads or has a little pre-breakfast if she's hungry. And she just joins me quietly as I finish reading my Bible and praying and having that time. Then after I finish my quiet time, if my other 2 kids aren't awake yet, which sometimes they're not, actually often they're not, they just kind of sleep later. They wake up more like 7:30ish. So if they're not awake yet, then I actually do math with my oldest daughter so I can give her my undivided attention. It works really well. We don't necessarily do that much, but even just a few minutes of it just works well. And if we don't have that time, then we do it later in the morning. But it is nice for me to just be with her one-on-one for that. So we are currently going through this math book. It is the Good and the Beautiful Math Level 1. I've really liked it a lot. I'm planning to stick with it this summer and next year as well. But our habit is doing some math in the morning. Not that we do it every single morning, but I do like implementing that habit because I feel like as the day goes on, it gets harder for me to be consistent with things. So I think math's important. So my daughter already knows we do math in the morning. Again, I don't do it every single morning with her, but we're implementing that habit. So then when my other two kids wake up, we go upstairs and I make sure we all get ready. So we all get dressed. My older daughter does that on her own, but my 4-year-old still needs a little help with that, and my 2-year-old obviously. So we get dressed, we all brush teeth, we make sure our rooms are cleaned up and the other living spaces up there are cleaned up because I don't want to come back upstairs later and feel like it's a mess. If I have a chance, I'll hang up the laundry or throw it in the dryer, things like that. So I like to try to make sure our upstairs space is together as much as possible and we're ready before we come down for breakfast. I know other families probably do it differently, but that works well for our family. So then we come down and we all have breakfast. And that's when I read the Bible to my kids. That is a habit I've been doing for a while and works really well. So my kids, like I said, are 6, 4, and 2. They're still really young and they don't have that long of an attention span. And so I love just using that time where they're sitting at the table eating to read to them. I can tell this is used. I love this illustrated children's Bible. I've shared this before, but I love that it's not cartoony. The illustrations are really pretty. It's biblical. It's good. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for a Bible to read to your kids. So I read some of that. The mornings are, to be honest, very chaotic with my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old. They're always needing something. So we don't do anything for too long right now. But I feel like it's really important to be implementing these habits. I like to sing a hymn to them from this hymnal. This is awesome. If you don't know this book, it's called My First Hymnal. My kids love it. We pray together. Sometimes I read to them a devotion from this book. Really love this. We talk about a 24 family way that we're learning about that week and a Bible verse that we're memorizing. You can see those on my chalkboards behind me. So those are kind of the things we do every morning while they're eating. And then once they're done eating, I let them color something while I clean up breakfast stuff. Sometimes that's from their 24 Family Way coloring book. Sometimes that is the coloring page that goes along with the foundations of the Bible study that we go through during the school year. Currently, they are coloring in their Africa coloring book that I made for them. So I've shared this before, but this book has all the different countries in Africa, a page for each one, the country where it is in Africa, an animal popular there, the flag, an interesting fact, a popular dish there. So there's a page like this for every country. Here's a page that my older daughter colored recently, Ghana, so you can see. Anyway, so we're still working through this, and so we'll keep working through this into the summer and working on learning our Africa countries using our big Africa map behind me that I've talked about before. Later in the summer, I am currently working on making a workbook where kids will learn about the attributes of Jesus and memorize scripture in the process. So stay tuned. I'm really excited for that. I will share that as soon as I have it done. And I'm also going to go through another kids curriculum that has to do with learning about real food and where our food comes from. So I'm excited about that too. So I will share about those in my next video. I like to have them color something as I'm cleaning up. It works well. I usually play some music during this time, whether it's a Bible song or a memory work song. I play something so they can be listening to that and coloring. I'm cleaning up. My 2-year-old's, maybe still eating or playing. That has worked well for us. Then once they're done doing that, and once I'm kind of mostly done cleaning up, then we have some math time or handwriting time, which it's not very long right now because again, they're really little and I don't necessarily do this every single morning. Like if we have to get out the door for something, I don't do it. But if we have time and we're not rushing off somewhere, then I do try to do a little bit of math. So I already showed you the Good and the Beautiful that I'm doing with my older daughter. This is the one I am using with my 4-year-old, and she's doing really well with it. The Good and the Beautiful preschool. So we do that. And then after that, it's playtime. So we might have a play date with a friend, or the kids just go outside to play, or if the weather's not nice, we just play inside our house, but it's just free playtime. I usually finish cleaning up a little bit if I need to, but I like them to have that free, unstructured play. And that's one of the reasons I love homeschooling, is for the freedom for them to have that. Sometimes after a little of that, we go on a walk if it's nice, or if we have to run an errand, we do that. Or like I said, we might have a play date with a friend. That's kind of our morning. Another habit that's worked really well for our family is our afternoon quiet time. My 2-year-old takes a nap and my girls have some quiet time. And so usually around 1, we start this, 1 or 2. And after I get my 2-year-old down for a nap and my girls started on quiet time in their room, sometimes they look at books or do a puzzle or just play with their toys, then I usually eat lunch then. And after I eat lunch, one of the habits I'm really trying to build is spending some one-on-one time with each of my girls. It's not always easy for me because I've been with them all day and I kind of just want some time to myself. But even though I've been with them all day, I haven't spent quality time one-on-one with them because I have 3 of them. And so I think that's really important and just a good way to get to know them better as people and build a friendship with them. Right now I make it a goal of 15 minutes, which is a total of 30 minutes. It's not that long. And I have to do it like right after I eat lunch, because if I start doing something else, then it's easy for me to just not do it. But if I do it right after I eat lunch, I go up there and offer to read them a book or just play with them, or often my 6-year-old wants to play a game with me, so we'll play a game. We love games in our family. So I'm really trying to build that habit. And I find that if I do that right away, God multiplies my time and usually gives me time after that to have some time to myself before my 2-year-old wakes up. So it's really cool to see how he does that. Then after I have that one-on-one time with my girls, then I do some work, or I go for a walk, or I might clean something, just something that feels restful to me during that time before my 2-year-old wakes up. Once he wakes up, then we kind of have our afternoon before dinner time. And another habit that I'm really trying to implement is just cleaning up a little bit, not like completely necessarily, but making sure toys are cleaned up and stuff before dinner. I also try to clean up any dishes that have been drying, stuff like that from lunch before dinner. So I'm starting off making dinner with not, a ton of dishes in the way. Stuff is put away and I have a clean kitchen to start prepping dinner. I also try to prep dinner as much as possible earlier in the day, so it's as easy and quick as possible to put together at night. I'm trying to cook from scratch as much as possible and just live a healthier lifestyle in that way. And so it definitely takes some time and effort and planning. And so I try to do as much of that if I can earlier in the day so the night is less chaotic. So we have some afternoon playtime and clean up a little bit, have dinner. And one habit that I'm really working on, it's hard for me, but is just making dinner time as pleasant and joyful as possible. It is chaotic in our house right now. Dinner time is, because my 2-year-old is usually pretty fussy and just hungry. I have seen that if I put a little plate out with some healthy appetizers like cheese and fruit or vegetables and nuts, that he'll just go over and snack on that as I'm prepping dinner, and that's so helpful. So I'm trying to do that. And then during dinner, we all go around and share our rose and thorn. Our rose is like a good thing that happened that day, and a thorn is something that was hard for us that day. So I'm trying to start the habit of just really fostering conversation during dinner time and making that a sacred family time. Again, not easy for me because dinner is just a lot when I'm usually tired, but it's something that I'm really working on. Then after dinner, my husband usually plays with our kids a little bit. I clean up dinner. He usually gets them ready for bed by brushing their teeth and reading to them a little bit while I'm usually still cleaning up dinner. Another habit I'm really working on, this is probably the hardest one for me, is just lingering in my kids' rooms a little bit at night. I fail at this more than I succeed right now, but I'm really trying and really desire this. I'm just usually tired by this point. My husband's already read them, multiple books, but when I go in and say goodnight, I really want to just linger in their rooms a little bit, talk a little bit, encourage them, give them a blessing, just treasure that time with them and not just, say goodnight, I love you, and walk out of the room. So that's something I'm really working on. My oldest daughter is loving listening to chapter books right now. So that's another chance I can read to her a few pages from a chapter book. We haven't started that yet, but that's one of my goals this summer. Then once we get our kids to bed, my husband and I usually hang out a little bit. And another thing I'm really trying to do is read some at night before bed. So for a while, I've just been reading a page of a book before bed and just falling right to sleep. I'm trying to read more than a page now. And I was inspired by finding out about 75 Hard, if you've heard of that, where one of the pieces of that challenge is reading 10 pages of a book per day. And just thinking about how much you could read if you read 10 pages per day. I love that goal. I don't think I can necessarily read 10 pages every single night, but that's kind of the goal I have. And, reading as much as I can before my eyes just can't stay open anymore. But I love the habit of reading right before bed. I did want to suggest some books that I have just loved related to homeschooling and just spiritual development. So the one I'm currently reading is called Unseen by Sarah Haggerty. This isn't about homeschool necessarily, even though I think she homeschools her kids, but she adopted some kids and just tells her story of how God led them to do that. Really good book. I absolutely have loved every book I've read by Sally and Clay Clarkson. So a couple of them that I own that I would highly recommend are The Life-Giving Parent, Seasons of a Mother's Heart, Giving Your Words, Awaking Wonder. This is specifically about homeschooling by Sally Clarkson. Really good. The Mission of Motherhood. I think this is the first book I read by her. I would highly recommend, especially if you haven't read any books by her yet. Heartfelt Discipline. This book is specifically obviously about discipline and just really good. Pretty different than a lot of discipline books, and I really like it. The Life-Giving Home. I actually have this book, but I listen to it almost every month just to remind myself and encourage myself of ideas of things I can do with my kids each month. Really good. The Ministry of Motherhood, another super good book. And this is one of my favorites by Sally Clarkson, Own Your Life. I've read it and listened to it multiple times. Super encouraging. A few other books I would highly recommend are Teaching from Rest. This is like a must for every homeschooling parent. Just a good reminder of what homeschooling is all about. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. This book is phenomenal, especially for somebody with my personality who's like a doer. Really good. Memory Making Mom. This was another one I really enjoyed reading. So I just love reading, and I'm not great at it right now, or I don't do it that much because I don't prioritize it enough, but that's something I am trying to grow in. So those are just some habits I wanted to share that are either working well for us or ways that I really desire to grow as a family and personally. So I hope that encourages you. I will link the books I shared and the other things I shared below in my blog post, and let me know if you have any questions about anything. I hope this was encouraging and helpful. If you are enjoying my videos, subscribe to my channel. I am posting at least one video per week and will continue to plan on doing that this summer. Videos related to homeschool things and healthy living. And check out my Instagram. I like to post what we're doing throughout the week homeschool wise and healthy recipes we're making. And check out my blog too, where you can find lots of great homeschool resources. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.